Yeah.
Yes, sir. Morning. Yeah, Chad said you'd be joining us. Welcome.
Yeah, I've been out here for the last couple of days watching my kids take off flying. It's been all of it.
That's awesome.
Well, I need to finish it. Gonna take their gun test, the written test. They passed that and then,
For private. Yeah.
I think it's like one or two more flights. I guess one check flight left, maybe he talks to them. Sure.
Yeah.
Like one check left. And he'll be having flights. They'll come there, but then it's a team meeting.
Good.
Or something that might actually get the actual license part of it.
Oh, okay, that's what.
I'm like, so I can go rent a plane?
Did you know?
He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, how cool.
Oh, that was tough. Okay, very good.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, Gary, what's going on, man?
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep up for
Yeah.
end of the year, so it's fun.
Yeah, either.
Yeah, no doubt, either one, right?
Trying to get our
We've been looking at
our
the.
payroll is actually set up.
He's been at the history.
And then I remember what.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, what's up there, guy? I changed tomorrow.
Yeah, I understand. What up, man?
You buy mom?
Yeah. Go for it.
What's up there, boss?
Yeah, you know, I'm not good. I work quite a bit this weekend, it's still on
Power corner.
Good. There you go, all right, buddy?
Good. You know, that's when you. Exactly. Next to my supervisor. Yeah, so
I
that's.
think they called it.
I don't know, I was out of town, deer.
Oh, I think they did.
No, I know.
I guess they do, I don't remember either. I'm sorry to hear it.
You're the priority. Hey, Drew,
Yeah, he had. He made
would you mind meeting Ryan
He
and
actually
say to
double
them?
major with a minor, doing like the onion. systems and problems. Yeah,
Man, it's going good. Yeah, we do.
That out.
Not here.
Yeah. Oh, right. You know, the whole part's gonna be great. It's somewhat
I think both interns.
reconciled. Which is a lot. But. Having the same owner and having the same system banks go together. It's like a guy said, you know, any kind of mergers suck.
Yeah.
It just sucks.
Maybe not us getting as much.
Yeah, I was just thinking he's thrown up about half of what he from the last.
Yeah.
That
from
I built
our
MKP were very distinct, really different markets.
Yeah, you got him, yeah.
And so that's gonna be the part of our deal is. Initiate those. It's being different. Allowing, you know, continue to do what's working. Okay, I want to. Wow. I hope so.
Yeah, they're showing the perfect time to come back. No one's had a meeting. I didn't realize there was. But
Yeah.
Job.
Yes,
We have been good to catch up on emails because.
So anyway, it's,
I'm really, this is my first week of real meetings.
$200 million.
4 weeks I've been back, and I'm back on leave next week. But, they're laid out first week, we're being back for Simpo on the board
In the
meeting.
game.
I bet everything's worked out smoothly, way smoother.
so it's.
You know, every once in a while, regret these words, shaking things up never hurts. You know, you kind of get it, especially in front of my plan of my
Are those
career.
two related? What about the same price?
You kind of need something to create
What kind of bird is that on?
Yes, never heard nada, no, not at 14.
Complacency's never.
No, it's not.
Although. The words, because I go into that retirement time, you kind of wanted to just coast.
Understand.
And now it's blocking the tackle. But our own.
41,
We were.
middle month value.
He's got so much. Hey.
Oh, yeah, I bet he does.
And some of the estimate.
All right, I've got 11:01, so we'll go ahead and get started. Call the meeting to order. We'll start with introductions. Joe, you want to start over there or go around?
Joe Killian, MoDOT.
Corbin Carlton, no doubt.
Mark Phillips, Cape Special.
Terry Harbison, Seymour, Florida.
Hi, I'm Jay Knudsen. I'm here representing Cape Girardeau County.
Alex McRoy, Sempo staff.
Drew Christian, CMO RPC.
Jake Gerard, City of Cape.
Joe Stewart, City of Cape Airport.
Lucas Preston, Seymour Ready. Chad Burner, Seymour Ready.
Jenny Smith, Cape County Transit. Jan Collier, KLG.
And online, we have Cicely Cochran with Federal Highway and Tom Caldwell with IDOT.
Happy New Year, everybody.
New Year.
Ryan is out sick, so I'm taking the vice chair role today. We'll move on to adoption of the agenda. Question or changes needed on it? If not, I'll accept the motion.
Over. Second, Jay.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, approval of the minutes. Which were emailed out, or in the packets. Discussion of revisions needed.
I'm seeing November 5th meeting minutes. Am I missing something here? Did I print the wrong ones? Yeah, we had a December meeting. You canceled the December board meeting. I might have printed the wrong ones. I think I got them wrong on the email too. I'll do the December minutes next month. You'll be eagerly anticipating reading them.
All right, we'll table the December 3rd meeting minutes then. I do not have any communications at this time. Do we have any public here? Going once, twice. All right, we'll move into new and unfinished business. First up is the MTP update.
Yes, you do have a handout. It's stapled here. It says Sempo MTP update. This is from our consultants. We are winding down the development of our MTP. This has been a 12-month process. You can see in the handout under item 2 where it says progress summary, the percent completion they've done for each task. Right now, they are more solely focused on the financial plan, which is the fiscally constrained and the illustrative transportation project lists. You probably saw quite a few emails going back and forth asking for review of both those lists. I know I've gotten feedback from most every entity, but they did request all comments be issued by the end of today. So if you haven't had a chance to review it yet, please do so and give comments to me. If you need an extra day or so, please let me know and I'll try and work with our consultants to get some more time. But we'd like all comments by the end of today, if at all possible. And we do anticipate a draft coming this month for review.
Any questions or discussion on that topic? If not, we'll move on to the transit system.
Okay, Ginny and I did meet earlier this month with our consultant Olson to discuss the project scope and to review the professional services agreement. We've since executed the agreement. We've settled on the project scope. Ginny and I have a pre-kickoff meeting with Olson on the 15th of this month, in which we'll be preparing for a project kickoff meeting in February with this group. And just as a reminder, this is anticipated to be a 12-month project. Any questions on the transit study? For folks, edification and just recalling what the project entailed, this was a study specifically looking at 2 different employment corridors within our planning area, that being the Nash Road corridor and the city of Jackson. Any questions on the transit study?
Go on to the multimodal freight plan.
Okay, as folks may remember, we have issued a task order with SEMO Regional Planning to help develop this project. We do have one handout. We've met with the consultants on a pre-project kickoff meeting, Jeremy and I, and discussed what they'll need from us as we get started. One thing that would be very helpful to them is if we had a list ready of freight stakeholders in our area. So you have a 1-page handout, front and back, has this table, it says freight on the top. I pulled this from our long-range transportation plan when we reached out to freight stakeholders, just as a point of reference. So please review this list, provide me any freight stakeholders you think should be included in our discussions. But also take a look at this list and let me know if any of these contacts are no longer viable. I do remember us having some difficulty getting feedback from some of the freight providers in our area during the MTP development.
Yeah, Alex, there's definitely some from the Fort Kennett area that are outdated.
Good. Would you be able to identify those for me?
Yeah, can you just send me this?
Yeah.
And I'll highlight the ones I changed, send it back to you.
Yeah, thank you, though.
If you'll do the same to us, we'll get some of the companies updated.
All right. So again, this is anticipated to be about a 12-month planning project. Right now, our Gantt chart shows us having a draft sometime in late September or in October of 2026. Any questions on the freight study?
Hearing none, we'll move on to the UPWP discussion.
All right. So we need to identify projects for our upcoming fiscal year, which begins July 1. It seems early discussing in January, but it just takes this long to develop the work plan, get all the projects agreed upon, and then get state and federal review and final approval. So I would like to have a recommendation from this group to the board in February, so the board can take action in February. I have a handout here. It's 3 pages stapled front and back. The first 2 pages are just lists of potential projects. I just went through other MPOs and their work plans. I looked up different transportation studies being conducted throughout the region. And I pulled a bunch of examples just to get ideas flowing of what projects you might want to schedule. As a reminder, we typically try to schedule 1 to 2 larger planning projects per year. So normally we'll pick 1 or 2 of these, and then we have a lot of ongoing costs we need to incur as far as tip management, our tip tool. But we can typically afford 1 or 2 larger planning projects. So going through some of these, and I don't need a recommendation today. And as you read through some of these, if the project description sounds kind of good, but you want it to go in a different direction, none of these are written in stone. We can amend them and shape them how we think would best fit our needs. But just going through some of these briefly, I identified a downtown mobility and parking management study. This would focus on Cape downtown and Jackson's downtown. evaluating the parking supply, curbside management, pedestrian crossing, loading zones. They look at ADA and wayfinding as well. I know the city of Cape had done a downtown parking assessment, I believe in 2016 or 2017. Been a while, and they certainly could use a refresh. I don't know the level of need or interest from the city of Jackson. But we can check with the mayor and Rodney on that. Project development, I thought this one, we could identify, depending on the scope of the project, potentially up to 4 projects that we have in our MTP lists, either, well, it would mostly be from the illustrative list, and just put planning resources to getting that project grant application ready. The number 3, corridor operation, signal optimization. This project, we would evaluate between 2 or 4 major arterials within the Cape Jackson planning area. They look at signal progression, access management, freight turns, congestion hotspots. The city of Cape had done something similar on Broadway with a TEEP grant, Traffic Engineering Assistance Program. And I think it was 22,000 total. The grant we received from MoDOT was 12,000. And it had a pretty good impact on traffic flow from Broadway. Since we've done it, I think that the signals have kind of recalibrated and are pretty off timing right now. Jake's staring at me like I don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm not going down Broadway because it used to be great. Now it's, I don't know, I get hit with every light. So if that was the intent.
There are some signals that are down at the moment. Some of the cameras are not working. Public Works is working to get that back up. And
That might be part of it.
back into. So it was done, it was good, it will be good again. It's in pieces.
So there are examples of successful projects where we did evaluation of signalization on corridors. Just as an example, complete streets policy, the city of Cape adopted a fairly benign one back in 2018. I don't know how much interest there is in that, but that's another example of project we could prioritize. Roadway safety audits, when we conducted our Safe Streets and Roads for All grant project, we identified our high injury network of all our roadways experiencing the most amount of injuries, deaths, and property damage. Toward the end of that project, we thought about conducting a roadway audit on US 61 being one of our major high injury networks. But we just ran out of grant funds toward the end of the project to be able to commission that. So that is something we could prioritize this year if the group wanted to identify 1 or 2 of those major corridors and put additional planning resources behind it to identify ways to make it safer. Intersection studies, that was a project we did a couple years ago. We identified 2 intersections, and I really thought that was one of the lowest cost, highest impact projects we had done since I've been with SEMPO. We identified 621 in Perryville Road. We got a lot of feedback from the Gulf area, all the different transportation agencies, and I think came up with some pretty good designs to contemplate in the future when we begin to prioritize that intersection. And then we also selected Route D in front of the Jackson Middle School, which they were able to then parlay into a TAP grant. I think that's being constructed later this year. That's right. I'm not here. Our origin and destination study, that's something we've kicked around the past few years. That's definitely tailored toward the MT focus of economic enhancement and system management. Access management and corridors preservation study, that'd be essentially looking for areas of congestion, potentially due to new commercial developments. Transportation equity and access study. An example I thought of is the city of Cape was looking for a study to analyze north-south mobility for Shawnee Parkway, US 74 for residents living south of it. We could potentially identify 2 projects, one in Cape, one in Jackson, that could be prioritized this year. And then the final example I came up with is transit stop accessibility and ADA audit. But Jenny, I wasn't sure if you had already conducted one of those. I think I remember you mentioning something to that effect. So that might not be something that's necessary at this time. And then on the final page is just a reference of all the projects we have active this year. Just to give you a perspective on what's being currently conducted versus what we could conduct in the future.
Alex, as usual, I'm the one playing catch up. Remind me again how these projects bubbled up on this list and what stakeholders contributed to this list?
Some of these projects have carried over from previous planning years simply because they were not selected at that time. Others were just from me going out and studying other MPOs and identifying different transportation planning projects that they had done.
So stakeholders, by stakeholders, I mean the city of Cape, the county, Jackson, haven't had any involvement in these.
This is their involvement.
This is a consolidation of their priorities.
Yeah, so instead of coming in and just asking, what would you like to plan this year? I put together examples of projects that we could prioritize, or you could come up with your own.
So you're asking us now, or at a subsequent meeting, to narrow this down to 3 or 4, or 2 or 3?
Yeah, typically we'll do one or two major.
1 or 2.
Yeah, depending on the size. If it's a larger planning initiative, that could be 100 to 150,000. We typically don't have the budget to do that in one fiscal year. We try to spread those out.
And so wouldn't it be fair to assume that a different group, the stakeholders should identify those 1 or 2 priorities versus this group? Or is that our role and that's what we're here for? I'm just saying, it would seem to me that to have those 1 or 2 would need some participation from the stakeholders, wouldn't there? City of Cape?
There certainly could be. This is an opportunity right now as representative of the planning committee to go to various stakeholders that you may want opinions from and ask them which project they would prioritize.
I see. And so will the board meeting that exists with the board of directors, will they weigh in on this?
They'll ultimately be the ones that approve it. I would like a recommendation from this group
Gotcha.
to the board in February. So you'd have this month and then February to debate which ones this group would like to
And
recommend.
board of directors has typically representation from those stakeholders, so.
Yeah, so our board of
Still have
directors
mayors and,
mainly comprised of elected.
gotcha, thank you.
Any other discussion on the UPWP list of projects?
Okay, so at our next meeting in February, I will be asking folks to engage in conversation so we can coalesce around 1 or 2, 10 to 3, depending on what we anticipate the cost of the study being as a recommendation to the board.
Anything else on this topic? All right, I'll move into the tip update.
I do not have an update on the tip. Do you have?
Finishing up, so the tip is, a lot of it is just kind of boilerplate language. Updating the financials for the fiscal constraint. All of the projects that are in the tip, we have to be able to show that we anticipate that we can afford them. So updating those financial numbers. A lot of the boilerplate language is already done, and right now I'm looking at later this month or maybe early February for the public engagement. Those meetings are usually not all that well attended because the TIF is not exactly a really exciting project that we do.
We held it 2 nights, 2 different locations, and had like nobody.
Yeah, I think 0 attendance. But we usually do one in Cape, one in Jackson, like we do for all the others. But we want to give the opportunity for anybody that has any thoughts to share them before it's finalized. So in the next month or two, doing the public outreach and then finalizing it after that, having it ready for adoption. So that's where we're at with the tip, the full tip update. Any questions?
Is that the only public outreach you do? Is there any digital public outreach system?
We haven't done any digital in the past. Now the tip itself is always up online. I mean, the list of projects is what we contracted with Eco. They for their framework that we use to manage the tip. So that's a web portal. Anybody can go on and view the projects that are in the list. And then the tip is the actual document with like the financial breakdowns of each jurisdiction. That's, you know, on the website. But we've not in the past done any kind of like digital surveys, that what you mean?
Yeah, I don't know if it's relevant. When we did TTF, we went out and we put our list of projects to vote with the public just on a digital survey.
Yeah,
Got feedback, which I thought was pretty effective, and it helped us as a group
right.
discuss what you need to do.
So the tip here is projects that are already funded. So there's really not, like the MTP is kind of where that visioning and the, hey, what are your priorities is done. The
Okay.
tip is the, all right, and most of the tip is actually MoDOT's projects.
And those are commitments.
Yeah.
Thanks what
So
you're getting at.
Okay.
It's really just a list of, here's what we're doing in the next 4 years, or in this case, we're doing an update every 2 years. So it's really just, here's the list of everything we're going to be doing in the next 2 years, and it's really already been vetted and committed to. And so
Yeah.
it's just not as exciting for people. You know, there's really not anything to vote on. These projects are committed. We're getting.
Well, you don't want to give them an illusion if they have a say where they don't.
Right. Well, yeah, like the MTP and some of these planning projects are really where, that's where their input really comes in.
Okay, cool.
Anything else? All right, we'll move into member reports and we'll start with City of Cape.
Thank you. South Spring Street, the water main construction is almost complete. We have to finish up in the Maple Street intersection. Then by the time the asphalt plant opens this spring, we should be ready to finalize that project. Bertling, we are doing the in-house design still. We'll evaluate the letting date on that one to minimize conflicts, because we also have the North Spring project coming up. That should be our next big project we send out the door. So we don't want to have another conflict like we had at Lexington Perryville. Lexington is substantially complete. The road is completely open. There are still a few punch list items, some street marking that still needs to be done. If the weather cooperates like it has been, we may be able to get that done really quickly. If not, we'll have to wait till spring weather when we back up. Maintenance projects, the concrete street repair 2025 is almost complete. There's about a week's worth of work to be done in Bemis. Then they will move down to South Minnesota to finish out that contract. The 25 asphalt overlay project is substantially complete. There are just a few punch list items, and we'll close that project out. We're gearing up in-house to get the 26 asphalt overlay and 26 concrete street repair out the door. So we're working on our street selection and that project design. Hope to have it ready to bid by end of February, so the contractor can get into it as quickly as they would like. Our grant projects, the Cape Rock sidewalk project. The acquisitions are underway. We had a separate project for the tree removal during the winter months when you are allowed to remove trees, and that has been done. So we're finishing acquisitions. We will get the final plans all approved, get all the paperwork squared away, and hopefully be ready for a summer letting on that project.
Jake, do you remember what side the sidewalks are going on?
The western/northern side of Cape Cod.
That's about.
The Cape LaCroix Trail project, our other TAP project, is then let, it is under contract. We're just waiting for proper weather to begin that construction. And that was Delta won that bid.
What was that, the Cape LaCroix Trail?
It's trail improvements. So from Bloomfield Road down to Shawnee Park, we're going to widen and improve the trail like what was done along between Hopper and East Rodney a couple of years ago. So widen it out, improve it. That section just north of 74 as you head towards Shawnee, that has become a kind of a off-road trail. Yeah, we plan to fix all that. So widen it and get it back to the good condition. Very good. I believe that's all. Thank you.
City of Jackson. Camp.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, in anticipation of this meeting, reached out to our county commissioners. I do have some year-end information that I think is kind of interesting here and informative. And Ms. Janice, I'll just give you a copy of this, and that there's a lot of information, try to consolidate. But
Good.
in 2025, the county did 2.5 miles of brand new roads. 454 and 516. They did overlay of 2.2 miles on a number of different county roads. So in 2025, county did about 14.5 miles of road improvement. I think there's an interesting statistic here that said at the beginning of 2025, there was 186 miles of gravel. And at the end, there was only 184 because they are improving and converting the gravel to asphalt. So those numbers continue to move in the right direction. For 2026, the county is planning on grading and widening projects on County Road 475, 1.2 miles, and on County Road 416, 1.5 miles. And there are planning of new 3-inch asphalt on County Road 453, 454, 227, and 330. Overlay of an additional 5.5 miles. So the county is alive and well, working in conjunction with our friends at Cape Special Road District and making improvements in the county. And I'll forward that to you, Janice.
Well, with that, Cape Special Road District.
We are gonna have our bid opening for the 26 asphalt overlays. I think we've got about 8 miles scheduled. And I'll have all those bid packets available probably here in the next week or so for contractors to bid on in February. Other than that, routine maintenance for us. Thanks.
Cape Transit.
Like Alex said earlier, we're knee deep in all this data that's going to be required for the study. There's a lot of things, but we are finishing up our 2025 calendar year with a ridership of over 158,000 people. Trips were provided in the year of 25. That's 37,000 ahead of where we were 2 years ago. So we're pretty proud of that. SEMO riderships, around 100,000 students served in the first semester. Trips per day. Greyhound stop there at our office has served over 1,000 riders. So that's been there since September. So people are getting on and off the bus. We are fixing to launch digital requesting of our service for same day and future trips with confirmation text and reminders and confirming the pickup when your driver's on the way, similar to what we all think at Uber. So that should be an exciting movement for us in January.
Steamboat Port.
We finished up our sub house project. Should be making the final payment here come Monday, once we receive any final project documents. We opened bids in December for the actual track work. We're still in the process of evaluating those bids and deciding how to proceed.
Okay, Airport.
As far as the year goes, we're counting up those numbers. It's actually looking projected that will be considered a primary airport again. We're looking to get that 10,000 mark for our payments, which is really nice. The Dallas Fort Worth has been a big success so far. I have a meeting tomorrow to finalize our Ebola, which as of now is going to be beginning of May, not in April. So I'll figure out why that changed a little bit, but we have 2 flights a week. Starting May.
Addition. C, we're ready.
Yeah, Representative Boss is working on putting some money in for our study in the session this year. So session just started today, so hopefully we'll find out pretty soon if he's going to be able to get some funding to do the Ozark Parkway study. That's what I'll think.
MoDOT.
Hello, it's winter time. We've got a lot less work currently active than we had in the last few months. So big things moving forward is the I-55 overlay. That should let on the 16th. So hopefully I'll have a more refined update for this by the board meeting. The other big traffic issue is going to be the Jackson Deerwood roundabout. We got construction starting later this week on the 12th, maybe Monday. And then lastly, the Emerson Bridge. Moving forward, we're looking at doing additional traffic control at the end of February, beginning of March. We're going to be painting the bents of the bridge. That's what that's for. And then we'll do full head-to-head again where we're switching traffic at the end of March. This will be for the same work that we did in 2025, but it'll be on the other side of the bridge. That's going to be your alignments of your cables. We'll be doing the milling of the pavement and then reapplying a 3-inch pavement layer like we did. You can see the color change from one side to the other right now. So that's the update. What do you got, Joe?
We are working on STIP development. We have started updating our safety projects and our existing projects that were already in the STIP. Once we've got that done, we'll have a little bit better idea of how much capacity we have left for new projects. And as always, the hope is that we can start peeling some projects off of the unfunded needs list. Last year, we did something new where we added all of the tier 1 unfunded needs projects into the scoping part of our STIP, which is we begin some design level work and looking at things to see what the right solution might be. But it is not a commitment like the highway and bridge construction part of the STIP is. So we are taking, obviously, the work this group does in our regional planning commissions. Whenever they work on the high priority unfunded needs list, that work does get looked at. Like I said, last year we did that. I anticipate we will also make sure all of the tier 1 projects are added in this year as well. And really, that's going to be it for probably the next 2 or 3 months because we'll be knee deep in just programming projects pretty heavy. The deadline is usually the first week of March for us to have everything programmed. And then we'll have questions back and forth with central office as they go through and kind of work things out. Any questions or issues, and anticipate that the draft STIP will be published in early May like it normally is for a 30-day public comment period. And looking out even further, then we anticipate that the 2731 STIP will then be approved by the Highway Commission in July, like our normal schedule. Any questions?
For the roundabout in Jackson at 61 Deerwood, do you know how they're routing that traffic?
I think at first they're going to try to keep things flowing fairly normally, but this is going to cause some issues. We're pretty sure from internal discussions in the next couple of weeks that there's going to be a decision to change that. So based off how much it's going to get backed up.
Gotcha.
So that's in flux, and I'll probably give you a better update in 2 weeks. We're going to actually shift what we're currently doing. It's just we can't tell the public that because they have to feel the pain before they'll go along with it.
There was some pretty good public commentary at the city council meeting. They then decided to leave it open during the process.
Yeah, that's probably gonna get reversed, but we're waiting on Jackson, the city, to feel it from the public more.
I think it's fair. It will be certainly an issue for a while. And you just have to do it with the end in mind. It will be worth it when it's done. Just, you can't construct an improvement and leave traffic flowing. It at some point, the construction is going to block that, so.
Still haven't figured that out, how to do that yet, huh?
You just can't magically slide it out of the way and.
Be nice.
Right.
When we figure that out, we will have really done something.
That's for sure.
Is the Notre Dame roundabout scheduled this year?
It is, I think it was in, but we would have to check that.
Because what?
I think it was pushed back,
Yeah, let me,
but I would have to check that.
Okay.
I'll pull up the interactive. I'll let you know at the end of the meeting.
Appreciate it.
Anything else for MoDOT?
No.
Go to IDOT.
I have nothing to add. Thank you.
FHWA.
I have nothing new to report other than a happy new year. And just one confirmation, just to make sure the MTP development, I know it's in process. But whenever you guys do come up with a solid draft that you think is feasible and you want to go ahead and send it over to myself and Jerry, we'll review it as soon as you can so you don't have to worry about it when you guys get all the way to the end. Even if it's just like simple markups that you want us to use, we hope to save you some time in the review process and trying to incorporate everybody's comments.
Thank you, Cecily. We'll get it to you as soon as we get our draft.
Okay. Oh, and one more thing, I do understand that we are currently under a continuing resolution until the end of this month. If it does lapse again, it shouldn't impact us. We should still be here. Our travel, it's already been limited, but it might be extra limited. But I don't want anyone to worry that you may not be able to get a hold of us. As far as I know, FHWA will be just fine.
Yeah.
I have nothing additional. Oh, yeah, you do have a handout, calendar year 2026 of all the meeting dates. That's also on our website if you need a digital copy.
Any other business? Hearing none, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second?
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.